Thank you so much for listening to the Gig Economy Podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you listeners that listen to the show. Real quick, this episode, my nose is incredibly stuffy. As you'll hear in the episode, I did come down with COVID-19. As I'm recording this, I feel incredibly better, so you don't hear it now, but that was what was going on. We had a guest host this week because Jesper was on vacation, Mike from Mike Delivers. Check his stuff out. Go to any podcast platform and search Mike Delivers. Uber Stories, he's an Uber Eats driver, an amazing guest host, an amazing person all around. Puts out a ton of content, and I think you'll enjoy Mike on this show. Studio sponsor, Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid, and EV. You can call them at 532-6600, or you can schedule online, irvines.com. COVID friendly. You don't even have to see anyone if you don't want to. We'd appreciate if you support the sponsors. If you are in the area and you do use Irvine's, please tell them that you heard it from the Gig Economy Podcast. That is super impactful for us so that they can, say, our advertiser dollars are spent well because people are coming in and using our services. Also, we'd love for you to support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search the Gig Economy Podcast. $5 tier gets you pre-show banter before the show starts, just kind of behind the scenes look. And the $10 tier gets you the pre-show banter plus an extra podcast a month and an exclusive piece of merch. Patreon.com/the Gig Econ, or easier way to do it, just go to patreon.com, search the Gig Economy Podcast. All right, guys, enjoy the show. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Gig Economy Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, we are live. Well, I am live in the studio, sponsored by Irvine's Auto Repair and Grand Rapids Hybrid. And we have Mike from Mike Delivers Podcast on tonight. Jesper's on vacation, and this is kind of a makeup stream. Last week we were supposed to be on, and I, in the last hour before I decided to do the show, I brought all my equipment to Nashville and everything. I thought, I'm here to network. I need to do those kind of things, so I decided not to do the show, so I hope y'all aren't too mad at me, but I appreciate you guys all coming on tonight. And if you could do me a favor and share the show with anyone that you know or love or hate, I don't really care. Just share it with them in your Facebook group, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Anything gig economy related, you can go to gigeconomy-podcast.com. Also, there is a link tree in the description. You can go ahead and click that. That has all our information. Want to give a shout out to our Patreon members, Keith, Janet, Larry, Samson, and Steve, and Leo from Detroit. We appreciate the support every month. And then, of course, our Telegram group where you can talk rideshare, talk shit, do whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't be racist or a bigot. That would be appreciated. Don't talk about bestiality, too. Only a few people know about that joke, but please don't do it. It's frowned upon. And then lastly, Rideshare Roadie, our boy Steve. He's actually on Chad the Gig Economist show right now, so hopefully he jumps over in a little bit and say hi. Check out his podcast. You can download that anywhere. You can go to uberandlyftdrivers.com. You can get it there too, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded or whatever. But Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Jason. I have to say, I'm not mad at you for going to Nashville. Like, I'm so jealous that you went to Nashville. I wanted to go to Nashville. I wanted to eat in Nashville. I wanted to drink in Nashville. I wanted to be you in Nashville. So I excuse you for missing that episode. You had so much fun networking to do. You had people to meet. You had to make those connections. Good for you, man, for doing it. I am so jealous of you. I went to my wife and I was like, you're not going to believe this, but Jason went to the Nashville event. And I'm like, I even went to her and I said, what do you think about making a family vacation in Dallas last year? I pulled that bullshit. So no, for real though, that's pretty cool that you got to do that.
It was an amazing experience. I'll be honest with you. A lot of the sessions, some of the things that we went over, I knew a lot of the stuff. I'm not bragging by any means. I've been podcasting since 2017. I've read the, I'm not perfect. And I took at least one actionable thing almost out of every session. So right. I'm happy about that. But the networking was amazing.
Yeah, that to me seems to be, yes, you go to these sessions and you'll learn stuff. But to me, it's just you're in a community of other podcasters, other gig economy podcasters, etc.
Yeah.
And that you can make those connections and meet people is something that, especially in the last 2 years, where the only people we've gotten to meet are our scales. It's pretty cool that you can do something like that. So no, that's really awesome.
Well, it's cool for you is now that you're working for a kind of production company, maybe they will pay for it for Dallas.
Yeah, we actually had for this past year, we had like virtual passes to go to stuff. But what happened, I just had, I was working, so it was hard to do it. I wish that I did. But yeah, no, it's something that's definitely on my bucket list that I really want to do in the future. So I just want to hear I want to hear everything you did. I want to you woke up at 7:52, you brushed your teeth, you had coffee, you had a bowel movement. I want to hear the whole deal. I want to hear everything you did. I'm so jealous. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was great. Larry and I went down, and it was a good time. So before we get into rideshare in the news, why don't you I'm just going to ask you to tell people right now, because I know I'm going to forget at the end of the show, where to find your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the Mike Delivers podcast. I tell my stories from the road as an Uber Eats driver. And then my wife and I review foods of Uber Eats places that I went to and picked up from, and we do food reviews on that. So you can find the Mike Delivers podcast wherever you find your pods, Apple, Spotify, all the major players. And then on social media, Twitter, Instagram, at Mike Delivers Pod. That's where you can find me. And we have some fun. We do food reviews, and I tell all the crazy shenanigans that happened to me while I am an Uber Eats driver in the last couple of years.
Well, I'm very envious of the amount of content you put out. So I'm a Patreon member for some punk. There he goes. You put in can you see the chat?
No, I can't see the chat. Is there a way I could? I'm scared to see the chat because last time I tried to see the chat, I left the room, and my anxiety is through the roof on that.
You don't have to look at it if you don't want to, but up in the upper right hand corner it should say comments. And you just click on that.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I was just going to talk about your Patreon, and literally your boy, who I love, Eddie posted it. But yeah, so Mike has a Patreon, which is dirt cheap, by the way. I told him it was too cheap. But this dude puts up so much content, I can't keep up with it. So if you want a lot of content on both either Patreon or just his regular podcast, seriously, I have 10 or 12 episodes that I'm so far behind in. Not like us, where we only put out 2 or maybe 3 a month. So
I appreciate that.
You got to check them out. So
thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right. Before that, we're going to get into, okay. So, I got to do one thing. So bear with me. I'm using the StreamYard software. So not that anyone cares, but it might be a little clunky. But I just want to say the picnic is coming up. It's less than a month. No, what day is it today? It's the 11th. So it's September 11th, 2021 from 1 to 4. We will not be having a petting zoo unless you want to pet Jesper. This is a perfect opportunity, if you're in the chat right now, to tease Jesper. He's not here. His internet, he's in Missouri. What show is that took place? Oh, the Ozarks. He's at the Ozarks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, near that area with all those, the big lake and stuff. But anyways, so you can tease Jesper tonight. He can't even connect to the internet, which is good. He's on vacation. But it's at Riverside Park at the Island Shelter. Just Google it. We'd love to have you there. We're going to have food. Everything's provided. Probably some giveaways and those kind of things. It's time, again, fucking COVID is ramping up again. So, we did it last year. It was okay. We're outside. But anyways, please come if you're in the area. If you're not in the area, please come. We would really, really appreciate it. Laura, hello from Houston. Thank you, Laura from Houston. What do you do down there? Are you a Uber driver, Lyft driver? Looks like Scott's from the road, Oshkosh to Green Bay. I'm so distracted. ADD is kicking in. I'm so sorry. Before we jump in the news,
just keep thinking about people petting Jesper.
I know he's very pettable.
That would be so nice. People just be gentle under the chin. He bites. Be careful.
He bites. Irvine's Auto Repair Grand Rapids Hybrid is the studio sponsor. If you can, anytime you can support the sponsors, it really helps us. And if you do go to Irvine's, which I just got a call maybe a week ago, Megan, she's like, hey, we had someone come in and use your name, the Gig Economy podcast. It really helps us. And they're like, oh, okay, we want to support this show. So 532-6600 or irvines.com. I just updated this picture. It looks like the same one, but it's still an average of 4.7 with 325 reviews.
Nice.
We just had a big boom of thunder roll in. Mike was talking about that earlier, that if our power goes out, we're screwed. So yeah, call them at 532-6600, irvines.com. You can schedule everything online. You can do it COVID friendly, meaning you don't have to see them. I mean, you want to see them, but you don't have to. And we would really appreciate it if you support them. Okay, real quick before we jump in the news, I want to talk about Para. Para is back online, working with DoorDash again. They got a cease. How do you say that? Cease and desist.
Cease and desist. Now, see, I thought I knew it, but now that you said it wrong, I'm like all messed up. Cease and assist.
No, not an assist, because
no, it's like a basketball assist. Yeah,
it is.
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I told you before we started this. I was like, we were reviewing stories, and I was like, Jason, there's one story that's giving me massive anxiety. I don't know what any of these words mean. So now you're going to ask me if it's cease and desist.
Yeah, cease and desist.
I'm nervous, man.
It's desist.
Cease and dentist.
Add an N in there. But anyways, so fuck DoorDash. I shouldn't say fuck DoorDash. I use them. But anyways, Parrot took their app offline, tried to meet with DoorDash and say, hey, this is what we want to do. DoorDash refused to respond to them, so Parrot put the app back up. So anyone that has not used Parrot is using Parrot and then got offline because they weren't working with DoorDash, they're back online. They're not back on originally where you could what was it originally? You can see the subtotal now. So DoorDash did change some code, but it's back working again. So please use that app to make more money. I just wanted to throw that in there. I don't have any other look at all the people cease and desist. Like, good Lord.
It's so funny. The second you make a mistake, people are just all over it.
I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
But it's like you say 8,000 words a day, and the second you say one wrong one, everybody is all over. I know. It's just amazing how it works. But hey, it's good to see the people coming through and helping out. But I get it.
Yeah. So just for everyone listening, because Peter is a good friend of mine. He was a big gigster full time back in the day. We know each other quite well. He said I'm sick, and Peter, I am sick. I actually got the vid from Nashville, so I am kind of quarantined for a while. But I have been vaccinated, so the symptoms aren't as bad, and I'm not going to die. So, it is what it is. So, okay, so this first TikTok, no, that's not what it is. TikTok is interesting about, even Scott's getting the cease and dentist. Oh, cease and dentist. See, this is why you don't watch the comments. You get so fucking distracted.
I know, it is crazy. It's pretty funny you mentioned that. Yeah, now you start going at it.
Yeah, I jinxed myself. So this first video is about, of course, tipping your driver, and we'll watch that, and we'll be right back.
All right, so I want everyone to look at this right here. You see this? Do y'all think you know what this is? That is a Taco Bell filled with DoorDash orders that nobody is picking up. And you may be asking yourself, why? Why are all these orders just sitting there? Why is nobody coming to pick them up and deliver them to the customers? By the way, you can tell that these are DoorDash orders because they're all sealed. Well, allegedly, it's because all of these people didn't leave any sort of tip on their DoorDash. So nobody picked up their order, and now they're all just sitting there getting cold. And my response to that is, good. I hope it's stone cold by the time you morons get your food. If I've said this once, I've said it 100 times. If you can't afford to tip, don't order out. Now, I know people are going to say, well, the fees are too high, or go take it up with DoorDash. If the fees are too high, don't order then. Stop being cheap.
Oh, sweet. And I'm sorry, the StreamYard thing is cool. It just stops playing and pulls it up.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
There's a fucking fly in here. Have you seen it in my camera buzzing me around? But,
no, I have not, but now I'm going to be looking. Oh, yeah, I just saw it. I
shouldn't have pointed it out. Anyways.
That was great.
So, yeah, I mean, this is reiterating tip your driver. I know those fees are jacked. Like, I've ordered it a few times, and it's expensive. The fees are expensive, but literally you need to tip. You can't. I mean, what are you doing? And as Mike, he's full-time, not full-time, but he's Uber Eats. He's doing all food delivery. So
yeah, I love this video when I saw it, and I could obviously relate to it. And I think he brings up a lot of great points, because we hear people bitching all the time about, like, oh my God, the fees are crazy. These fees are insane. I'm not going to tip anybody. Well, at the same time, it's like, all right, you just spent $162 at a steakhouse, and you got steak, and you got mashed potatoes, and you got this and this. And then you're like, well, I'm not going to tip. At this point, it's like, well, this is what's going to happen. So it's cool to see too that the DoorDash drivers in that area are being smart and revolting against that action so that people can tip moving forward and learn to do that. So, bigger picture, okay, if you can't afford, if there's a big difference between $28 and then $32, if that's a huge difference where you're like, I can't tip, that's a bigger problem to me. So at that point, I agree with him when what he's saying is don't bleep and go do the order if you can't tip. And if that's what you expect to get Taco Bell, 3 days later. So well-produced video. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I wonder when people are going to get the idea of tipping, because clearly some people must be taking those cheap orders because people still do it.
Right.
So,
that's the great point is somebody's falling for the gimmick. Somebody's doing it. Right. And that's why it'd be so interesting if you could ever like go behind the scenes and meet the Uber Eats DoorDash people and how they scam this. I think that would make for a fascinating interview. Like, oh, there's the rookie guy. Let's go get him. Get him. $2 for an order. He's not going to know what to do. He's just happy to be in his car.
Yeah, and it might be just new drivers not knowing the game.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But I actually put this clip together. It's not that complicated, but the guy that runs DoorDash, his name is Tony. Okay. So here we go.
Fuck you, Tony! Fuck you, Tony! Fuck you, Tony!
So that's actually from a TikTok, those dogs that say, fuck you, Tony. What's your name? Have you ever seen that one? And he goes, my name's Ezekiel. Well, fuck you, Ezekiel. Anyways, if you're not on TikTok and haven't seen that, but yeah, Tony, the owner, fuck you. You need to do something because, I mean, they've even lowered the base pay from $3 to like $2.50 in some areas.
Do you think that what happens? I guess Taco Bell just says we don't care. Nope. They got already paid. We can just let this food sit here and rot from there. And I guess they just don't really care, right?
I mean, they're paying the fee. So they're paying their fee on that though, right? Like I would be curious what happens if the order doesn't get delivered.
Oh, so where they can't. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So where does that 35% come in? Does that apply if the food is actually delivered, or each order, regardless, it's a $10 order, Uber gets or DoorDash gets 35% and doesn't matter if it gets delivered or not? That's actually a good question. I have no idea.
Yeah, like the food's just sitting there. Obviously, like if I'm the customer, I'm going, well, nobody's, getting my food. I don't know what to do. I'm cheap. I'm not tipping. Let me cancel it. And then those bean burritos just sit there. What happens next? What's the next phase in the production of the cheap, cheap orderer? Yeah, who knows? That's fascinating.
Well, I think the bean burritos get thrown in the microwave and they eat them on their way home from work. I mean,
that's right. Don't waste the food, guys. I like that.
I wouldn't. We talked about on your show the breadsticks. That chick was eating those fuckers in the back. Like they weren't going to give. Yeah,
I love that. That's an all-time story with the breadsticks.
Yeah, it was. So Mike's going to talk a little bit about. Well, we're all going to talk about. Hey, Megan, what are we talking about in this one? Oh yeah, DoorDash Grubhub sues San Francisco over permanent delivery caps.
Yeah, this was the one where they were saying about a certain percentage that they wanted it underneath at 30%, and they were getting upset at this cap level, basically from the restaurant perspective, saying, okay, I'm a restaurant and I want to give out, I want to make sure that I make enough money, and we're going to give a 40% increase so that we can make as much money as we can, DoorDash, that is, off the restaurant.
Right.
But then the law is saying, no, you can't go above 30% because we need to make sure that these restaurants are making enough money. DoorDash, they're saying, no, this is unconstitutional. We need to make our money. We don't want a cap at that number. And all I could ever think about when I was listening to this story was like sports, and how sports have cap numbers and they don't allow you to go over caps. Now, that might make no sense whatsoever when it's controlled in this conversation. But as a delivery driver and as a consumer of food that's delivered to me, that's good to hear. As far as like on the economy side and going into what's the free market, that's an even deeper conversation. But initial gut reaction was, well, good.
Yeah. I mean, I see two problems. Well, I see one problem. Well, I see a lot of problems. Well, I'm not even going to number it because then I'm going to be called a liar. One of the problems is getting the government involved. They're capping that. Right. The government's coming in, the county government. Hey, you can't do this. But on the flip side, as a driver, if there's less fees, maybe they'll tip you more. I mean,
that's a great point.
Logically, you think that would happen, but I don't know if it actually would.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's really interesting. Right. So if you go to a restaurant and that $8 that isn't going for your delivery charge of your, mozzarella sticks and the burger all of a sudden goes into your pocket, that'd be awesome.
It would.
So yeah, that's you swayed me. Initially, I was thinking that, but see, now it's interesting because now I'm thinking there's so many angles to this, right? Like if I'm a restaurant owner, I understand that perspective because people can't come into my restaurant. I'm forced to be doing these third-party apps because I need to make some sort of money.
Right.
Then from my end, I'm like, well, hey, I want to get tipped more. I understand and respect what you're going through, but I need to get some more tips. So if this means people can give me more money, hell yeah. And then the consumer is just like, I don't know. I'm too lazy and fat to get out of my house. So I understand all of these perspectives. It's a really like, I feel like this is going to be such a great issue to be talked about in like the court of law. It's really cool too to be experiencing in real time, sort of, maybe 10, 20 years from now, court cases that make a difference in how things are established, but we're kind of learning how it's going through this.
Yeah. Megan says, hey, I'm not lazy. I was actually going to bring that up. Megan's actually works for Irvine's. Her parents own it. So don't be too mean to her. But it actually is a laziness thing. Cause I literally live, like I said to you, Mike, before the show started, a mile and a half from all these restaurants. I can go pick it up.
Right.
And there's times where like you're in a pinch or whatever, or Megan's hungover at the baseball field and she needs food. I
remember that.
Yeah. So, but no, it is pure laziness a lot of the times. And then I'm usually fussy because it's not warm enough. And it's just like, I don't know. And then all the fees, I'm the same way. The fees suck. But going back to this story, 35-40% is kind of highway robbery. I mean, I'm kind of liking that the county stepped in a little bit and said, hey, this is ridiculous, especially during a pandemic. But anyways.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that a number has to be established because at some point, if you just keep going and going and going and they can test their limits, and all of a sudden they're at 50%, 55%, 60%, and local, mom and pop restaurant that's really needs the support of this is like, we don't know what to do. You need to protect them. It's one thing for the Applebee's, the TGI Fridays of the world, the McDonald's of the world, but you're a local restaurant and you're relying on this. I could understand seeing that support and having it and how it's a good thing and not allowing these numbers to go out of control. We would have to talk to maybe a restaurant owner or a business owner to say like, what is 30% and what's the difference? 20%, 30%, 40%. How does that affect your bottom line? Might be interesting to know.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is they get you locked in, right? And then they slowly creep up the percentage because they're like, oh, you're used to this great service. So now we're at 40, now we're at 42. And they're kind of like, I mean, I'm sure there is a breaking point. They will figure it out. I mean, it's obvious. You just look at your stats. Right. You're like, okay, this company or this business and this business is canceled. But yeah, everyone's got to get their money. Jumping to the next article, Amazon's mission getting a key to your apartment building. So as a flex driver, and I've done a lot of apartment buildings, I absolutely hate them. It's the bane of my existence. I mean, some of the apartments, they have like they're like outside stairs. You can go up and put them in front of their door. But a lot of them have buzzers, and it's just a pain in the ass. And, you don't really want to leave that package outside. Have I done it? Yes. Is it against the rule? Yes. Did I want to get home? Yes. My thing with Amazon Flex, I do not want to go back to the warehouse because you got to remember, you deliver all your packages, right? You're done. If you have to go back to the warehouse with one that was undeliverable, it costs you money. You're driving back to the warehouse and time and gas. So
yeah,
I'm to the point. I haven't done Flex yet this summer. They must be desperate though, because they email me every day. But if I get to an apartment complex, and I'll get into the story in a minute, I'll hit my apartment. Let's say it's 4 I need to get into, and no one answers. I go 1, 2. I buzz every single one until somebody opens it up. And it's rude. I get it, but I want to get this package inside in front of their door. But what Amazon is trying to do is, and some of them do have this. Some of them actually have lockers, which is kind of cool. In these bigger apartment complexes, you deliver to these huge set of lockers. You scan the package and it goes in. But they're trying to get basically keys into these apartment complexes. Just going around, they'll put all the whatever the fobs in and everything. But a lot of people don't like it because of security. Someone said, "Oh, it's hackable." I'm like, "What isn't hackable?" I mean, the the key
No, I agree.
the key fob you're using, the customer or the resident might be using to get in anyways is hackable. So that's not really a good case. But apparently, there's salesmen going around to all these apartment complexes trying to get people to sign up for this. For me, as a driver, I think it's amazing. I love it when we have easy access to apartments. But what's your thought about that as a consumer of Amazon, Mike?
Yeah, as a consumer, so I live in a condo that's outside, and people leave it at the door, and they just ring the doorbell, and the package would be in my front. If I lived in a condo, though, I'd be into this. I mean, I got to be honest, I'd be into this because I think of the efficiency and how much easier it would be to get things. Now, I understand it's 2:07 in the morning, and you're going out to walk your dog in your underwear, and all of a sudden you see somebody in your house, in your apartment complex, like, who the is this? That would be a little concerning. But I think as things modernize and we're just in the infancy, in my opinion, of all of this. So these are the growing pains that we have to go through. Things need to change to get more efficient at this. At some point, some jackass is like, I'm going to just swirl around a neighborhood. I want a new electric toothbrush. I want to get a new Polo. I want to get a new teddy bear. Whatever's in front. Teddy bear's a weird example, but there's things in front of you. You could just take whatever you want. So I think that we're going to have to modernize and then we're going to have to adapt and get better at this stuff because people are going to catch on and there's bad people in the world and we need to find a way to be more efficient at this. So as a consumer, I'm good with it because I respect the idea that we can get more efficient, we can get smarter. And then, I've never done this type of delivery, but I could just put myself in your shoes and be like, oh my, I could already, like when you were talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, my brain was going, like I could feel the anxiety. So I totally respect it as a driver, obviously. And as a consumer, let's roll. Like we got to advance this stuff because this is not slowing down. And especially with everything that's happened, people are going to not go shop anymore.
Oh.
More items are coming to your house. We got to find in your condos and your apartments. We got to find a way to make this more efficient. If the driver can get in and out of there, I applaud the idea.
Yeah, I mean it's in Amazon's best interest to do it because it makes the driver quicker. They have less stolen packages. I mean, it's a benefit for Amazon. So I mean, I love it too. Amazon, and I haven't done it yet. This is one thing I haven't modernized. Do you have a garage where you park your cars or not?
We have a garage. We don't park our car in it, but we do have a garage.
Okay, so you can get like a Wi-Fi connected garage door opener. Like you can add it on there, so like you can do it with an app, right? Just like everything else,
right?
Well, apparently with Amazon, you can set it up that they can open your garage door and set your packages in the garage and then close the door all from the app. I've done it before, but not a lot of people use that feature. It's kind of another security thing too. I wouldn't mind doing that. There was a while there that they had something where they would open your house door. They could open your house door and set the packages inside.
Too far.
That's
too far.
That's a little weird. I think that's a little far. Like if I had a foyer, listen to me, like if I was rich and had a foyer or even like a mudroom where they could get into it and then they couldn't access the main part of the house. Again, I don't have a mudroom either.
We have 3 in our house.
3 mudrooms? How's bragging camp?
A lot of Uber Eats money there, yeah.
Yeah. I might do it, but I think it's good. I think they should do it. So come on, apartment complexes. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. Having somebody that can go into your house would be a little much. Like Jesper's walking in, and you're like, why is somebody, hanging out watching Ozarks in my house? Like, that would be a little much.
Yeah.
But I completely understand. Just trying to streamline all this to make it better and more efficient because in 20, 30 years from now, if we're doing things the same way with like, no way. Things are going to get better. Things are going to get faster, and we're going to get better at this, especially as more like people just don't go grocery shop anymore. It's people going in grocery shop for you. So things are changing. We got to adapt with it.
Yeah, bringing up the Amazon, I'm terrible. Like I don't go to the store anymore. I buy everything on Amazon. And this is where something like we talked about the price increase, they could slowly increase the prices because I literally don't. If I have to buy something, I go right to Amazon. I don't even search the web for anything anymore. It's terrible.
Then it has everything. Like we do stuff where it's on auto renewal. Like
subscribe and save.
Like cat litter. I'm talking about like cat litter, all the essentials, cat litter, coffee, toilet paper, paper towels. We're just on like such a kind of rigorous schedule where, in 2 weeks we're out of toilet paper.
Yeah.
There's the toilet paper order, and you don't even have to think about it anymore.
I know.
It's much better than going into the grocery store and fighting for things. I mean, it's just streamlining life.
Megan says, I got all school supplies on Amazon. I have 30 glue sticks, 26 too many.
What do you do? That's a lot of glue sticks.
That is a lot of glue. Those sticks go a long ways. My daughter's into crafts, and they go a long ways all over my table. So, all right, Mike, you want to grab the next article?
Let me just bring it up on my
handy dandy notebook. $6 for 30 glue sticks, Megan. I mean, how can you go wrong? You'll use all of them, or the kids will, or the dogs will eat them. God, what would that do? That seems incredible.
Yeah, no, glue sticks are I always think I remember, I'll never forget about this, but I was in the second grade and Jay Samuels was there, and she ate glue sticks, and I'll never forget that. And it's like a name I'll never forget.
I wonder, because the glue sticks, obviously you warm them up and they become glue. When you swallow them, I'm thinking, I know I'm way digressing, but if a dog swallows it, does it get hot enough in its stomach that it becomes liquid? Okay, Mike, save me.
We're not going to find out.
No, we're not.
Do that. All right, so the next story here, as I get myself organized, is a private pool rental industry is growing in West Michigan. And basically what's going on, there's a handful of people in Grand Rapids area that are renting out their backyard's pool on Swimply, an online platform for private pools. And what's going on here is homeowners, think of it like, I guess, an Airbnb, but they're renting out their private pools for people on this private pool platform. And people are renting them out using these pools as vacation homes or vacation spots that they can go out and hang out with. And I think this is another great idea and another advancement in technology. And I love the idea of other just different ways. Jason just ate paste. Okay. You're not lying about reading these comments. I think it's really cool that somebody could go out and just continue to develop ways to make more money. And you know what? Like, let's rent out the pool, get out of the house for 8 hours, have some fun, and a couple $100,000 later in our pockets. Pretty dope.
Megan already beat me to the punch. What if someone dies? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I'm going to need a 30-page liability thing, and
that's the truth, though.
But if I can make $50 to $100,000 a year, so that ain't happened in Michigan because we got like 3 months of summer here. It's like
right.
June to August, and September you can get a snowstorm. But if I could make that much, I'm going to convince my wife to put a pool in because drop $20,000 on a pool, and if I can make 50, but it sounds like a lawsuit nightmare.
Yeah, it does. And that's the scary part. Like, do you rent a lifeguard? Do they come in? What happens on that side of things? Because you got to make sure all your family is safe. There is a lot on that side of things. I mean, it seems like it's a lucrative business, though.
I know.
Just something else like that you can make. You can do that. I also just love, on a side note, I love local news reports. This is something I did in college when I went for broadcast journalism, and I was so bad at this. And there's just one thing I did at a bowling alley, and I have like the biggest wedgie I've ever had in my life. So anytime I see these old school news, like these news reports, all I think about is my ass crack, which is nothing to do with this.
That's hot.
But yeah, so we could go right here if you want to say.
Yeah, no,
but like, just be safe, make sure everything's required, and you're right. There's 75 pages of if something happens. Not my problem. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what makes me think about it is a lot of drivers, and I don't know if you have this, Mike. I don't know if you have supplemented car insurance while you're out driving, but it's probably something you should look into. It's more impactful for passengers, but it reminds me like they're probably like, oh, we'll just use the app's insurance. They'll cover us. But I would recommend if you're using this, what was it, Simply or Swimply?
Swimply, yeah.
I would look into some extra insurance on that. And a lot of homeowners policies probably don't cover that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like making money off your home and stuff like that. But
I wonder if they require you to like leave the house if you're having a party. Like, I mean, I'm this is kind of simple questions, but like, okay, let's say you have to go to the bathroom. Are you allowed to go into the house?
Oh, that's true.
Is the family there? Do they have to leave? Are they watching you? Like, is little Timmy in the back room watching Power Rangers? Like, what happens during this whole time? I don't know, because I guess if I rented out somebody's pool, I personally not want to like look into the kitchen and there's the owner staring at me. I don't think I'd be able to relax as much. So the pool is the bathroom. Yeah, I guess you could just urinate right there or, do something else a little over the line. Truthfully, though, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I'd like to go into an area that has a toilet So I'd just be like, what's the rules with that? Is there a
Yeah.
bathroom? Can I go in your house? Are you there watching me? Do you have to leave and go to the Bennigan's for 8 hours? What happens?
Yeah, I mean, if it was me, I would. If I'm making 50 grand, I'd do it up. I'd hire a lifeguard. I'd get one of those deluxe porta potties where it's like air conditioning and shit. I'm like, if you're making 50 or 100 grand, I'm gonna spend a little bit. But that's a good point. Where does that kid got to go take a deuce? Because I mean, I grew up in a pool. I know when you drink that chlorine water, it makes things get to getting, and you need to get to a bathroom quick.
You're so dead. That was just a funny story. Like, mommy, I got to go to the bathroom. I have to poop. Sorry, Tim, you can't go poop. If you read the contract from Simply, you're going to have to hold it in, or we're not going to get our deposit. Like, just the whole thing is making me laugh.
Or there's a shed in the back. Go behind there. Here's some toilet paper. All right, moving on. This was kind of interesting. Can I get a job at Lyft? I was acquitted of a sexual assault, and I'm a felon. Do I have to tell them about that? Do they even hire felons? The job sounds great. Get to meet new people that don't know me, see new places, work my own hours. But no, you probably can't get a job with. Why would you say you're acquitted of sexual assault? Because if you're acquitted, it's not on your record. So I don't understand the point of even bringing that up. But it brings up a good conversation. I do feel bad for people that do have like felony stuff that was like 20 or 30 years old that can't get jobs. But that guy, I don't think you're going to be able to get a job with Uber. I mean, my guess is they don't let you on if you have any felonies, regardless of what it is. But so anyways, so real quick before we get to the next one, I just want to, take the time to say, if you are a business owner out there, or if you even not a business owner, I don't care. I'll sponsor. No, I will not sponsor anything. We talked about tampons, although we have female listeners, so I guess I would do it. We do have a new sponsor coming up next week. We're actually doing 2 shows in a week, so put it in your calendar, y'all. We're going to give you your product. It's just going to be 2 weeks in a row. But yeah, if you could send me an email, that would be great if you're interested in being on the show as a sponsor. Also, if you could review our show on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate it. And then, of course, we have merch. The link is in the description. We don't make any money on it. I mean, if we sell a t-shirt, we make like $2. It's not about that. It's about repping the brand. If you're interested in that, we would really appreciate it. So, all right, Mike, we're going to talk a little bit about a DoorDash driver contaminating cops' meal. And I do have a video. Would you like me to play that and we can discuss?
Please.
All right.
Video posted to social media shows a delivery driver tampering with someone's food. And tonight, investigators say the person who placed the order was an NYPD officer. News 4's Ida Siegel is in Brooklyn with the investigation now underway and the charges the driver could face.
The video is disgusting. This is a DoorDash delivery man sticking a note inside a Chipotle contaminating the meal. The person who received that delivery was a police officer at the 61st Precinct in Brooklyn.
I think it's disgusting. I mean, even though it's like he's a police officer, I believe that, even if whatever biases you have towards police officer, that shouldn't affect your judgment in you delivering food.
Look again, and you can see the note says, hope that blood might have been tampered with in other ways. Police say it happened between 2 and 3 in the afternoon on Monday, and the officer threw the food in the trash.
I just think that's, just not okay in general, Probably had some kind of intention behind it. Bad intention.
The incriminating video was posted on a Facebook page by a user called So Certified. In the comment section, he claims to be the one who put the note in the food, saying, "This is a Facebook public announcement. I don't violate people's food like that. This was personal. We at war." The Facebook page has since been deleted. We reached out to DoorDash, and they tell us in a statement this behavior is absolutely unacceptable and has no place in our community. We take the trust and respect of merchants, customers, and Dashers extremely seriously. We have deactivated the Dasher and have reached out to the customer involved. Chipotle says in a statement that the driver's actions are inexcusable, and they've made sure their delivery partner has deactivated that account.
You ever wonder, are they messing with my food, or?
I wonder that everywhere I go, to be honest.
Police are now searching for that delivery man, and if they end up placing him under arrest, he could be charged with reckless endangerment, which is a felony. Reporting from Sheepshead Bay, Ida Siegel, News 4, New York.
Yeah, so I actually have another video. I don't have it for this show because I prepped this show last week, and I was like, fuck it, it's already prepped. But another driver doing something stupid like that. Sorry, it cut out there a little bit. I don't know. It wasn't on my
No,
end.
that's the video. I watched it before. It
Okay.
had like some random spots where it was going in and out. I think it was over some curses too, or something. Like
Yeah,
that,
towards
when they
the
were
end it
blinking out the
was. But
curses. Yeah,
I don't understand people that do that. And then the dumbass videotapes it or takes a picture and posts it on his social media page. Like, I don't understand people's thought processes.
I know it's bizarre, and I love the statements that like we heard from DoorDash, and they gave this statement. Like DoorDash wanted to be like, we went to DoorDash, and what did they say? Oh shit! Like that's what they wanted. Like we really have to deal with this right now.
Right.
This idiot decided to open up a food container and put a note in there. Like, come on, man, you got to be smarter than that. It's just bizarre. It's just bad behavior, and whatever your personal biases are and whatever your politics are, do your job and do it well and take some
Right.
pride in what you do
Yeah.
and deliver. Like, I make a joke about it on my podcast that I haven't stolen food from anybody, and it's a big joke. But the truth is, it's not. It's disgusting. That's somebody's meal. Why would I ever want to go near it and tamper with it? That's their dinner. We talked about like that's their hard-earned money going to spend this meal. It's just bizarre that someone's like, I'm going to go get them. And then the dumbass thing, and let me post this on everything possible to brag about it. Now you lost a job and you're never going to do the gig economy anymore. Like, stupid.
Yeah. No, the sad part is he'll just go to Grubhub or Uber Eats and it'll be,
and there's no way for them to have like, do you think there needs to be some sort of like circle communication?
That's not a bad idea.
Not for when like it's a bad customer that just wants to be a jerk.
No.
And like, oh, so-and-so's food was 20 minutes late, I'm going to try to get them off and whatever happens. But something like that where it's warranted for that person should never be involved in this.
That's actually a really good point because it takes so long for like the legal system or anything to get through. You know, the background checks they do once a year. So if you had this driver on DoorDash that, I don't know, assaulted somebody or whatever, that driver could go. I mean, he could have like raped somebody. I mean, okay, obviously rape, he's going to be in prison, so that doesn't count. But my point is, if it's something that they can get out of jail within a day or whatever, post bond, they can be on any other platform for another year until they run the background check. And honestly, I don't think any food delivery companies have rerun my background check. It's only been Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, I want to say maybe once it's happened, I had to update something in Uber in 2+ years, but not enough where something bad's gonna happen. I'm just saying, like, it's not enough where it's recurring enough. And I'm not saying I'm doing bad stuff, but you want to make sure that, like, almost like they're doing audits on the driver is not a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Every so often, just plucking people because we're consumers too. Like we talked about before, people are bringing us stuff, and if they're going to making changes and people can go in and out of places, there needs to be a little more systematic parts with that. So I wouldn't be opposed to that.
No, I don't know how they would implement it, but it does seem like that's something that they could do. But like I said, I can see Uber, even though you're only doing food delivery, I can see Uber running yours, but I'm talking about Grubhub and DoorDash. I've been on both those platforms for years and they only did it the one time. So
yeah, you would. Yeah. And I wonder if it's like I guess from their end, they're just like, we don't want to deal with the expense.
I guess. I don't know what Sumpunk means. We're at a war with grammar. Is he talking about cease and desist? I don't know.
It might be that. I'm not the best grammar person.
Oh, I'm horrible.
Ever.
We say on this podcast though, we're not experts in geography or math. Those are the two issues. So, all right, Mike.
Math, I'm okay.
Talk about your the man brought his own scale to Texas Roadhouse. No video on that, right? Just an article.
No, just an article, and I love this. So basically, somebody went to the Texas Roadhouse. It was his birthday, and the Texas Roadhouse said that you would get a 6-ounce steak. And what he did was he brought his own little mini scale, like a food weight scale, not one you put on to figure out your body weight, but a food weight scale. He he brought this scale to the restaurant, and after the steak was delivered to his table, he put the steak on the scale, and it said it was 4.6 ounces. He then complained about it, made a whole stink about it, got an extra steak, and he went viral over this whole idea that he was promised a 6-ounce steak, but he brought his scale and got a 4.6-ounce steak. Now, I do believe, though, and there's a point bringing out here on the comment section, that it's 6 ounces before it's cooked, and once the fat renders out of the meat, it then goes down a little bit. Now, probably the more it's cooked, the more ounces it will lose because of the fat leaving. So I do believe that this steak was probably a little smaller, but not as much as he had thought. And also, that is psychopathic behavior to bring a scale to a restaurant to measure how much your meat is absolutely and utterly ridiculous.
I think this guy's a professional. I mean, he probably goes to Logan's and Applebee's and does the same damn thing, and he gets that shit for free. But I mean, most of them, I shouldn't say most of them. I'm talking out my ass. But I would think most of the menus say 6 ounce and then in parentheses before cooking, because every piece of meat is going to shrink down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it has to. Now, there was a good point, and there was comment sections that I was dissecting and analyzing that, like, maybe if you got a better higher end meat and you went to like a high end steakhouse, it went from 6 ounces to 5.3, or if you got it well done and it became a briquette, like you're going to lose all of that, rendering down of the fat,
right?
And it went down to that. But I'd love to be at that table. You're out with your buddies and you're going like, Frank, what are you doing? This looks like it's a 4.5er, Bill. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's right. I'm going to shrinkage. I'm going to take out my scale and weigh it. And then I'd love to see the reaction of the waiter. Yes, can I get you another drink? No, I just took out my scale and I weighed my meat and it's 4.6. You promised me 6 ounces. And like the server's probably going, okay.
I flopped my meat on the scale on the table.
Yeah, man. Like, here's my meat. I'm going to weigh my meat. You're going to tell me that you promised me more meat. I came here for meat and you didn't give me enough meat. It's just kind of crazy. I mean, like, oh my God.
Well, when you put up the or when you said the comment of a high-end steakhouse, my guess is a high-end steakhouse actually cuts their meat a little bigger to compensate for that kind of stuff. I bet you they do.
Pro tip there.
Yeah, I bet you they do. James Little, can you turn off the closed captioning, please? James, I don't know what that is. I don't have it on. I think Facebook puts that on themselves, so I can't help you there. I apologize for that. Can you all say meat a couple more times? Meat, meat, meat. I love meat. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep. I love Sunpunk. That guy's so fucking funny. COVID Jason sounds like Zach Galifianakis. I know I'm so fucking stuffy, y'all. I appreciate you dealing with it. Oh, my Lord in heaven. Hi, Steve. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on. I know, Zach.
Hey, Zach Galvin. That's a good, hey, that's not bad.
Have you ever seen the little clips between two ferns? It's the funniest fucking thing ever.
I've seen the teasers for it. It's a good movie. But it's a show. It's a show, right?
I don't even know. I have no idea. I see him on TikTok, but I saw one between him and Jennifer Lawrence from the Hunger Games. It was fucking hilarious. I was dying laughing.
Smart dude.
Both of them were hilarious. Man. She's like, "You're fat." And he's like, "You're da da da," and they're just going at each other. But
that's amazing. Now that's all I'm going to be thinking about right now is your ego inside coming out of Zachary. Like,
I know,
ego, but your pseudo, whatever the word I'm looking for is.
I will tell you, I did not smoke any weed before I started, so I know he likes weed too. So James says, "Okay, let's talk para." We talked para at the beginning of the show, so. I'm not sure where you're from, James. I appreciate you tuning in. Moving on. Thank you for that story, Mike. That was good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see. All right, here we go. This is kind of funny. What's the strangest delivery you've had? And I know Mike's got a billion stories. Again, check out Mike's podcast if you want to hear some crazy ass stories. And he does a great job describing them. What's the strangest delivery you had? I delivered to a graveside service 44 apple pies from McDonald's. Amazing. That is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never delivered that, but clearly the guy that died loved those damn apple pies from McDonald's.
Yeah, that's got to be the tie-in. Like, hey, let's celebrate so-and-so's life by getting all these apple pies. I could not even imagine what that delivery driver is thinking and going through his head.
Yeah,
he or she is going to the gravesite and they're like, "Oh my God, yeah, that is wild."
Yeah, what am I getting myself into? Seriously.
That's crazy.
What do you have anything off the top of your head? I know I'm putting you on the spot, and I hate.
Yeah, no, of course. The thing that jumped in my mind that I've been thinking about was I do a lot of deliveries from IHOP, which is not and a lot of deliveries on a Sunday, which is very normal for IHOP. Pancakes, breakfast, the whole deal. But I'll never forget getting an IHOP order. It was Sunday at 9:45 in the morning, and the person ordered the fresh fish tilapia meal. And had it delivered to their house at 10 in the morning on a Sunday. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Somebody's getting some fish from tilapia at IHOP, which is one thing to have a discussion. But before 10 in the morning, and I'll never forget, I bring it up and I go to this woman and it's just like, this beautiful woman ordering tilapia from IHOP at 10 in the morning. And it just, maybe not the craziest story, but that always just struck in my head. I'm like, okay, so then my wife and I had to try this tilapia. We had to do it for one of our episodes. I had to try it. I was like, I gotta know what this tastes like. But that always was weird. Like, wow. All right.
I feel like if you've ever worked third shift, you can eat any kind of food at any time.
True.
I mean, I worked like 3 years in a factory out of high school, third shift. And then I'm like, I don't care what time of the day it is. I will eat a burger at 8 a.m. It does not bother me one bit. But and again, who orders a tilapia from frickin' IHOP?
I'm with you. I like to eat. I'm not a huge breakfast person. Like I don't eat eggs. I don't like that. I don't like your traditional breakfast stuff.
Yeah.
I'll eat non-breakfast things for breakfast. I'm a big fan of leftovers of dinner for the night before. But to make a conscious effort to go to to order IHOP and have somebody deliver me the tilapia, like that's something I probably would not do.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Getting fish from a delivery service seems gross to me. So
yes.
All right, moving on real quick. I just thought I'd share this picture. I thought it was kind of cool. Dave, the Uber slave. He's got one of our stickers on his mic.
Nice.
I sent him out a little gift package for being on the show, but I thought that was pretty cool. So I don't see him tonight. He's usually on chit-chatting, but
cool. That looks good. That looks solid right there.
Thank you. Real quick, part of being part of our Patreon is merch. You actually, one thing I learned at the Patreon, they were at the podcast movement. They actually have their own merch thing built into Patreon. So you can actually create a piece of merch just for your Patreon people. So I thought that was pretty cool. But we'd love for you to support us. Everything goes back into the business. We don't take a paycheck. We're not going to the strip club or anything, I promise. But you get an extra podcast a month, sometimes two. Do we have one this month? We got something lined up. I got to book it yet, but we'd love for you to support us there. We have a $5 tier. I actually have changed the $5 tier. The $5 tier gets you the pre-show banter where we talk shit about all you Patreon people. And then the $10 tier gets you the extra podcast, the pre-show, and the extra piece of merch. So if you love the show, we would really appreciate your support very, very much. Okay, so this is kind of a weird text with DoorDash. So the customer says, why did you put this BS left-wing vaccine propaganda on my bag of food? Reporting you to DoorDash. Driver, no idea what you're talking about. I didn't put anything on your bag. On my customer, on my McDonald's bag, it says vaccine.gov on it. Your job is to deliver my food, not to put your propaganda stickers all over my order. Let me get this straight. You think I put that on your bag? Who else would? Here's a tip for you. Don't push your commie vaccine BS at work because you will run into people like myself who won't put up with it. Dude, I didn't put anything on your bag. That's how I picked it up at McDonald's. If you have an issue with that, contact DoorDash support at McDonald's. I'm just a delivery driver. Nothing to do with that. Stupid left-wing commie. Nothing left to say for yourself. Enjoy your 1 star and hope you lose your job. Reporting you. Okay. We talk about this a lot. There's a lot of that stuff that goes on that people get weirded out about, but my guess is it was probably a damn sticker from McDonald's.
Yeah, we're just going off what we read on the text exchange, but it just seems like the delivery driver had nothing to do with it. And then also, if the delivery driver was wanting to express that his or her feelings on that situation, now why, once we're in the middle of this conversation, just lay back on it? It just at that point you're like, well, I want to convey my point even further. So I wouldn't be like, oh, I didn't do that. You would probably think this person would want to engage. Like, this is my views. Let's get into it. They were like, I don't care. I just wanted you to get your Big Mac and I can move along. I don't give two bleeps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. It didn't seem like the driver was into, pushing what that person it was offended by.
Well, 2 comments. One said, Megan says it's on McDonald's coffee cups too. But Megan actually has sent me private text that because she would see this survey on her food or something like, oh, rate 5 stars. And she thought it was the DoorDash driver writing that on her food. I'm like, if they fucking did that, you better report them because that means they opened the bag. But we did figure out that the Qdoba, there's a newer one in town, has been doing that on their food, whatever their containers, which is super annoying, by the way. I understand that you want me to review, but actually physically writing that shit on my food makes me repulsed, and I will actually go out of my way. I only do those surveys when I've had exceptional service, or I'm pissed off. One of the two.
Right.
It's never in the middle of the.
There was somebody I interviewed on my podcast that his name is Bug Z. He's a rapper and he's a DoorDash driver.
Okay.
And he would take his CD albums
Oh no.
and put them in the order. Not like if it was McDonald's, he wasn't going to open the bag and put it in there. But if we've done enough orders, you know how it works. He would take his CD and leave it in food orders and have people listen to him in his rap. And he was a rapper, Bug Z, in the Tampa area.
Interesting.
And he's got like 8,000 deliveries and 100% rate. He's a great driver.
No
and
shit.
Like, hey, let me just promote my album. And he did it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to get reported, but and then of course, who has CD players nowadays? I mean,
that's fair.
I don't even know if my wife's got a 20. You always talk about the RAV4. My wife's got a 2016 RAV4 too.
Oh, nice.
Oh, your wife's is 2017, I think.
2017. Yeah, I crashed the 07.
Now you know I listened to the show, right? Because I knew what freaking year that was.
Yeah, that's good.
But I don't even know if it has a CD player. It may have one, but I mean that's a good idea. Like I've always just thought of trying to think of ways how I can reach gig workers, about the podcast and those kind of things. There's just that's like, what do they call that? Guerrilla marketing, where you're just like out there doing some crazy stuff.
But I mean, like as a driver, if you're going from house to house, and I don't know how many deliveries you're doing a day, but if you were to take your card, staple it on the bag, you've just, like, say for example, mentioned it, you just reached out to 20 people that now have access that you would never have known before, and if 3 people like it, then you have them listen.
Yeah.
There you go.
What I need to do is hook up with like a for me personally, I'm thinking about my brand. I don't care about that rapper. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
what episode was that? That must have been a while ago.
This is like episode 38.
Oh
39,
gosh, yeah,
way back in the day.
I didn't go back and listen from the beginning to your show. Once I met you, I started from there. But if I could get like a business to be like, hey, attach these cards or give them to the drivers when they come in. I'm just thinking about how I could grow my show. But moving on. Some punk stick a micro SD in the bag. Let's see if they. That's weird. Megan said yes on my Qdoba. It's the Metro one doing it. Yep, I called and talked to them and told me it looked bad on the drivers. Am I a Karen? Shit. I think Megan's drinking White Claws. Megan, it's freaking Wednesday. What are you doing, girl? All right, Mike, we're going to talk about this Amazon. This is a heavy Amazon show. Do you want me to play it and then we can discuss?
Yeah, sounds great. Let's do it. This guy's.
I don't think there's sound to it. So van pulls up in the driveway, Amazon Prime van. Again, why are they pulling? I see this all the time.
They just pull in the street.
Yeah, they're just lazy. But like, okay, so he gets out, goes and delivers it. But what I don't understand is, like, I see these big vans doing that. I'm like, that's so dangerous because then you're backing out.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with that.
Right.
Well, I guess unless you have this guy.
Well, yeah, you'll see. So I know this is audio podcast. So he gets back in his car, and I'm like, okay, he's going to back out. He's like, I don't know, a third of the way up the driveway. So this mofoker, okay, he backs up, and then he just drives right through the lawn. Okay, so he's backing up. I don't know what he's doing. He's turning the wheels.
Yeah, this is weird.
No, he just goes, holy shit.
You know what's weird about this too is he initially makes the movement like he's going to go back out on the street and do, what you're supposed to do, back out, go on the road, move along the way.
Yeah.
But what happens when he gets 3/4 down and then goes, you know what? Not for me. I'm going to be on the lawn. What triggered in his head where he thought to go that far, made the move all the way there? It was like somebody getting to the altar and being like, will you marry me? No, I'm leaving. Like, what changed at the end?
Well, you see, he turned the wheels to do the right way. I think what happened is, like, his GPS, he had to go the other way. So he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to.
Yes.
I'm going
to. GPS move.
Yeah. Which is, Again, I don't understand why those Amazon vans pull into the driveway. I think they're lazy. I just don't think they want to walk. And I get it if you have a heavy package and you back it up. I've done that. I totally have done that, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah, and then right, exactly. If you have like this, you're bringing in 50-pound bags or whatever, and you want to limit that. But for me, I know as a driver, and it's different as just holding somebody's bag of food, but it's so much more convenient when you can just get on the street and you don't have to go back up into traffic.
Quicker.
Yeah, it's just quicker and easier.
Quicker. Yeah.
Now, does that person, we're seeing this now. You found this great video. I assume then that this person got reported. It somehow they got back to them like, hey, Jeff, you're not allowed to drive on people's grass. That's frowned upon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works with them. I've seen some stupid shit with Amazon drivers.
Crazy.
All right, real quick, two more things. So I just want to talk about this one. A lot of people, I see this comment a lot. So any new drivers that are listening, so she said, I just did 42 rides, earned $560, but they gave me $237. WTF, can you explain what's going on? So there's a difference between an earnings guarantee and a bonus. And I know a lot of you that are hearing this, I get it. You're educated. This is for new people and I'm not saying if you don't understand it, you're dumb, but I'm just saying a lot of people understand this. But I see this question asked a lot. The guarantee means they guarantee you, again, $560. So you only get the difference of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like a bonus is like if you do 20 rides, you get $150. A guarantee is if you do 20 rides, you are going to earn $150. So let's say you do the 20 rides, you only earn $120, $30 more dollars. They will come up with that $30 more dollars to get that. So just something to think about when you're looking at that stuff. Don't ever do a guarantee, only do a bonus, because those guarantees are made for those companies to win. Those bonuses are where you're going to win the money. So I missed the date of the picnic. Yeah, it's September 11th, Pete. Oh, there's a new person on Twitch. I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you joining on. Trey Knoll 73. I appreciate it. All right, last video. Mike, you want to tell the story about this, or do you want me to play it?
Let me just.
This is about the delivery snacks.
Okay, yeah. So I'll explain it a little bit here. This is a person. I'll explain it a little bit further. This is a person that at their house has a nice assortment of snacks that are available for people,
which is amazing.
Which is like, you can everything from Gatorades and all of your typical snacks that you can get. And this person does a nice job of making these available to. It says here Amazon delivery snacks, which is really cool.
All right, we'll play this. Hopefully, don't get kicked off because it does have some music behind it. But if we do, fuck it. She's running up. Apparently, the person already. Oh, they can't hear me.
My favorite stop. Nice and cold. Thank you. Any number. Thank you. Have a good day.
That is so cool. I see that a lot during the holidays, but I don't see it much after that. But I always tell my wife we're going to do that, and then we never do because we're terrible people.
No, you're not a terrible person, but I'm the same way with stuff. Like I'm gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. I little small detail in this video, which I think was a complete contrast to the Amazon driver we saw before, who decided I was gonna go on somebody's lawn.
Yeah,
was this person? She got the food, she got her drinks, and then sprinted back to her vehicle. Like she was like, I'm in the mood to like get things rolling.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's an awesome thing to do for delivery drivers. And I have a story where somebody did that for me, and I thought it was fascinating because I dropped off a McDonald's order, dropped off the bag, and then I took a snack and a water, but the person didn't really give much of a tip. And so I always found like this conflict in my head. So we'll speak if I'm a bad person, like, okay, this is awesome. Thank you for this little snack. Thank you for this drink. This was great, but I didn't get paid a couple of extra bucks.
Right.
Now, in the long run, if I had another $3 or $4 in my pocket, fine. So it's probably better. I can remember that experience in that moment as a delivery driver. But it was a cool feeling. But I always wanted to be like, just curious. You didn't tip much. Did you spend it all on the snacks? Was that enough? I feel like I'm Larry David. Was that enough for me? I appreciate the Cooler Ranch Doritos, but I needed the $4. So
right.
And it's always kind of jogged in my memory.
As an employee of a company, it's always nice when I have those extra things, though. Like, money is great. Don't get me wrong. We're all working for money, right? I mean, we're not doing it for fun. Like, we have a goal in mind. We want to live.
Course.
But it's always nice to have that little extra stuff that when the employer does go a little further than they have to, and while being independent contractors, they're kind of our employers, right? Those are our customers, so
right.
And it's kind of cool when you get snacks. I do get excited when I'm delivering. I see that stuff. Like, I've gotten some good stuff, some like full Snicker bars, like the big ones, and sodas and stuff like that. Yeah, I always perk up. No, normally I'm only delivering packages, so I'm not getting a tip from them in either way. But yeah, it always lights me up a little bit when I see that.
Yeah, you're right. And it's interesting, you know, at the base of it, we're human beings, and just the simplest of things that can make you feel better and make you feel good always goes such a long way. And if you can do something like that and you can light up somebody's face, yeah, why not?
Yeah, for sure. I got a package you can deliver. Hey-o.
Sexual stuff.
Right, exactly. Anyways. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys being on the show tonight. I'm sorry my nose is stuffy and I'm feeling like dog shit, but shut up, Pete. It's not small. And I appreciate Mike being on, of course. You can check Mike out, obviously, anywhere you get podcasts. I got to get Mike on the Linktree plan so he can.
That was dope. I'm gonna look into that.
You should, because then you can
post on
post
my list of things to do on this notebook. I added Linktree. It's there.
Do it. You can post your shit all over the place. But I appreciate y'all listening. Again, just a reminder, we will be back next week on Wednesday, 2 weeks in a row. I know it's amazing. Jesper will be back. I will be out of quarantine, thank God, so that he can come to the studio and we'll go from there. All right, guys, thanks so much.